Chapter 42, in which Princess Kitty meets an aspiring artist. To everyone in Kodono, it was a bright day, but for Princess Kitty, it was slow and tedious after a few days. At the small park, the wind breezes through her pink hair and her cardinal-colored dress as she sat on a bench. She was talking to herself.
How slow everything is today. And yesterday, things just went on as usual. I would wonder if things can be different today. Well, after making enough friends out of grown-ups, then I might as well stay right here until tomorrow. Then I will see the Pratchett's again. Todd, with his spiky brown hair, and Audrey, with her pretty blue dress and golden hair and blue eyes. The more I think of them, the more I miss seeing their faces. The memories of them would not satisfy my affection towards them. If there's nothing for me, I will sing myself a song.
It goes something like this.
In the good old summertime, in the good old summertime, strolling through a shady lane with your baby mine.
Then came a sultry tone that chilled her bones to the very insides. You came here often? She turned and softly gasped when she saw who was on her left. It was a beautiful woman with well-groomed blonde hair and blue eyes, dressed in a black suit and bowler.
Where did you come from?
Princess Kitty asked, rising up to meet her.
I didn't hear you coming.
Then her voice trailed off in confusion.
It's like your footsteps don't even make a sound.
I'm pleased to finally meet you at last. The princess from another world, the blonde-haired woman said, fascinated. I've got to hand it to you. You, and others like you, do have a knack of making the front pages of the Times. You don't waste any time knowing what you're doing.
I don't know you, ma'am.
You are right, the blonde-haired woman said. You don't know me, yet I know you and what you are. Princess Kitty trembled and tried not to look too thrown by this, so she turned away, saying nothing. I see that you have no intention of believing me, the blonde-haired woman said. Fine. I'll just tell you how. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful princess who was half cat from a magical world. All was well for those in the kingdom who knew her, including her peasants, her subjects, and her mother and father. But one day, destiny encourages her to leave the kingdom and into our planet Earth, where she ended up in an ordinary city like this.
That woman! She's talking about me!
The woman went on. There she met two lovely children who wanted to make her feel right at home. And after a daring adventure at a terrible country with the children and their grandfather, the mother and father of the kingdom arrived and told her to leave her friends behind and make friends out of grown-ups for 3 weeks. During the 3 weeks of her life, she did so many great things. She even baffles them by bringing forth flying clothes and cats on 2 legs. Then her voice devolved from sweet to a quiet fury. Alas, the mayor of the city, with his head out of the clouds, shall not tolerate such nonsense. So he has the entire city turn against her. The princess wanted to feel welcomed, but she'll never get the chance. And so, she lived unhappily ever after. At least, that was what I've heard. She leaned closer. Maybe you can tell me. Do you think everything I said is correct? Yes? No. Princess K wanted to leave, but the likelihood of the woman coming after her, or the woman losing her temper with the princess, is far too high.
How did you know all this?
Princess K demanded. You tell me, the blonde-haired woman said, her voice leaching disbelief. One of these people has to tell me. That's just a thing. Being a grown-up, I believe anything they say. Then came the unexpected question from Princess Kitty.
The two children I've known must have told you about me, haven't they?
The blonde-haired woman responded. Children these days always believe in something, haven't they? They never seem to waste any time. Princess Kitty thought.
I hope she didn't insult the children I've known.
Regarding the grown-ups, it was very intelligent for them to get their head out of the clouds in order to have the city remain ordinary. And all it cost them was everything.
Then the whole city's better off being ordinary,
the blonde-haired woman declared, staring her down. Ever wonder why such unusual phenomena around you from the unknown keeps happening? Then the sweetness returns in her voice. The unknown is fascinated by you, by what you can do, and what you have meant for Kodono. Even the unknown doesn't want you rejected, to be ignored by everybody because of the mayor. You deserve to be welcomed. That way everything can be worth living. I can't even imagine what will life be like without you.
But I do imagine,
Princess Kitty whispered, her ears drooping.
These people want to believe in what is real. They no longer believe in anything, including someone like me, even though I did great things. I think things are not working out for me.
The blonde-haired woman grasped Princess Kitty by the ears, causing her to scream in pain. However, the blonde-haired woman doesn't let go immediately, and end up in a trance. It's as if the defense mechanism doesn't work on her. With her tail puffing up in fear, Princess Kitty scratched the woman's arm, but she lets go immediately. Well, that is something I will not tolerate, the blonde-haired woman sneered. There, Princess Kitty knew that something was off about this woman she'd met.
What are you?
She demanded, her tone harsher now. But the blonde-haired woman ignored the question. Frowning, Princess Kitty commanded,
Look! In the name of the king!
The woman interrupted her with a short bark of bitter laughter. Your kingdom? I don't think you ever want to know what I am. Instead, you must be concerned about a storm that's about to come. A storm that can cause misfortune to all of Kodono. Then she turns to leave. But Princess Kitty is already after her, seeing that the woman is making her way towards a beige Peugeot.
Ma'am!
Princess Kitty screamed. However, the woman didn't turn and respond. When the woman gets in the car, Princess Kitty was already approaching her, but she was stopped by a tall chauffeur. He was bald, with a brown curled mustache and tinted eyeglasses to hide his eyes. He spoke out in a voice at least 2 octaves too deep for a person that size.
Please stay away from her.
I want to know what she is!
Princess Kitty protested.
What is this storm?
A storm so perceptive, so omnipresent, so vengeful. Nobody of mortal race can be safe, the woman calls out as he slams her car door shut before climbing on board. Only you can stop the storm by making yourself known. Princess Kate can see the Peugeot speeding away before she turned and walked back to the park. However, she looked down at a small card placed on the grass. She picked it up. It read, Charlotte Simone Lenoir, expert in mythology and folklore. She can't help but feel stunned. What kind of person is Miss Lenoir? How is she not in a trance when she pulled the girl by the ears? There's no way. Unless... She must know what Miss Lenoir is. Clearly, she hasn't heard of such a creature like that in the book she had read from the library. Although she knew the name of Miss Lenoir from one of his grown-up friends. However, her thoughts went away when her ears perked up at the sound of a bicycle's horn. She turned around and saw a man with ginger hair on a green bicycle. He was wearing round eyeglasses, a white shirt, a brown sweater vest, a blue denim jacket and matching pants, brown shoes, and a black beret. Princess Kate turned to leave, but the man saw her and calls out to her. Hey, miss! Don't leave! She froze when he brings his bike to a stop. Hello there. How good it is to finally see you again. I recognize you somewhere. Her ears perk up.
Me?
She asked.
You want to see me? I didn't even know you.
Not yet, he smiled. I saw you when you first came here.
How?
I was riding my bike to the bakery while you were up in the sky for the first time. She remembers the time she arrives to the city by bubble. There she has no time to know the city folk.
I didn't know that you see me,
she said.
I must have made myself too conspicuous than I thought the first time I came here.
Say, now that you're here, it will be a good time to introduce myself, I suppose, he said. My name is Cameron Christian Copley.
Copley?
She asked slowly. Yes, that's Kopoli. Do you have a name?
I'm Princess Kitty of KAWAII Wonderland,
she introduced. KAWAII Wonderland. That's something I never even heard of before. Where's this place? Is it like Luna Park in Coney Island?
Somewhere beyond the universe, I fear. I came here in this city by bubble.
I see. In other words, a million light years from Earth.
That's probably right. Say, when did you first saw me?
The 12th of May. That means you've been in the city for 4 weeks now. By now, surely you have a place to live in the city.
I've been wandering around Cardona for 3 weeks, seeing that I can't even afford a house, except the Pratchett's.
You're going there?
I can't show my face to them until tomorrow.
Well, seeing you today at the park, I thought you were completely lonely.
How thoughtful of you to say that to my face. But I made some friends out of grown-ups. I made friends with a professor and his niece.
He thought up an idea. Say, why don't you come and stay in my apartment?
You want me to stay with you?
Her ears perked up. Why, of course. It's at Garofalo Street, he said, reaching a hand out. It'll take us half an hour to get there on foot. I'd be happy to take you there myself.
Well, the professor's niece said that I must find another place to stay,
she said, taking his hand. So just like that, he takes her to the ambitious side of Cardona. Cameron lives in a tall apartment complex with red bricks and a blue roof, with a fire escape on the facade at Garofalo Street. There's a black Mercedes parked on the curb. To her, if she did meet Professor K. Boom again, she won't be hesitant to tell him that he could move into an apartment like this. That depends if it's all right with her recent friend. The lobby is colored white, with green panelings and green doors. Cameron and his new friend ride the apartment's old lift up to the top floor. The top floor hallway they were standing in was softly lit, The richness of the dark blue carpet gave one the impression of treading on velvet. He placed his key in the lock of one of the white doors and opened it. "Go on in," he said. "I'll be with you in a minute. Just don't touch anything. Some of them are still incomplete." His living space was a mess. Aside from his bed, his desk topped with brushes and tubes of paint, the wallpaper was damp and blistering, showing off various patterns composed of the ever-fashionable avocado green and pastel yellow. Sketches are tacked to the wall. The floor was covered with a canvas tarp with paint stains. The red curtains opened to bring out the sunlight with the windows opened. While he makes his way to the bathroom, she looked around and froze. Displayed on a large easel is a painting of a girl encased in a pink bubble flying over a night scene of a city, including a clock tower. On the bottom, there was a parade of cats marching on their hind legs. The girl has pink hair on the sides, with triangular ears on top. Her eyes were pink, with slit pupils. She's in a red strapless sleeveless dress, with a matching skirt. She was amazed, and wonders if that girl in the painting is her. There was a flush, and he came out of the bathroom. "Well, what do you think of my painting?" he asked, when she discovers his latest work. "Pretty cool, huh?"
It's amazing,
she said.
Is that girl in the painting supposed to be me?
"Well, yeah. When I first saw you, I thought you were some kind of angel or something from heaven, or a comet. Probably a lost creature that was once created but was forgotten by God. The mystery which drove me to obsession astounds me to this day. That's how I got inspired to paint this picture. How I got motivated. But you know, I can't get this girl's face just right. That means I've been waiting for you to see your face again, so I can draw it properly. You know, you'd make my life a lot easier if you'd model for me." She blushed. Her ears drooped slightly.
You think I'm beautiful?
He nodded, smiling. "You have a cute face. It's a lot cuter now than before." He was laying out his pencils like surgical tools. His sketchbook was open and ready. He sat on a chair in front of her. "Now don't you be nervous," he points at the armchair. "Sit down on that chair over there in front of me." She sat in the armchair. Her tail slinks around her skirt. "Now try to relax your tail," he said. "Good. Now close both of your thighs. Yeah, like that. Use your hands and wedge them together between them."
Tell me what looks right to you.
"It's fine. Just relax your shoulders a bit. Good. Now, eyes on me, hold that pose. You can blink if you want. Won't affect my drawing skills." He began to sketch. "Now don't move. It's hard to draw a moving target."
Can I talk as well?
she asked. "Won't affect my drawing skills in any way," he said. "I like to know more about you, because I think I'm fascinated with your pink hair, your pink eyes, your white ears, and your tail."
Really? How much do you want to know?
"I must admit that I was a cat lover once. My aunt had a Siamese in Karakia. Tell me something that pops into your head."
Well, I moved here from KAWAII Wonderland in order to make myself feel welcome. And when I meet little Tom Naughty Pratchett, I think I've already succeeded. Aside from grown-ups like their Grandpa Jack, they're the younger friends I know, ever since I left them for 3 weeks. Only fate will do anything to draw me back to them. Of course, that depends on the situation. The Pratchett's are expected to arrive at the fairground tomorrow, like everybody else.
"That's great. Maybe I should go meet them as well." Despite his nervousness, he has drawn with sure strokes, and what emerges is the best thing he has ever done. After nearly 20 minutes of sketching, Cameron lets her see it. Her pose is languid, her hands beautiful, and her eyes radiate her energy. There's a signature in the bottom right corner. CK 863 35. Might as well be an improvement on my latest painting, he said, gesturing his previous work. Drawn the day before the bicentennial.
True, but I think it looks great,
she said. I agree, he laughed. You know, to tell you the truth, I thought about destroying that other painting many times, but I don't have the heart, so I guess it's worth it. Why don't we go out to eat? Outside the apartment, he asked her what food she'll eat, but she tells him that she only eats sweets. What do you mean you can't stand regular food? He asked.
I'm the princess of KAWAII Wonderland,
she said.
My people eat sweets every day.
Your people should eat healthy like everyone else, like fruits, vegetables, and other basic food groups, he said. But if you want to eat something sugary, then I don't want to waste any time arguing. He took out his notepad. After writing the address, he tears it and gives it to her. This is the bakery I usually go to. I hope you can understand it all. It's the building with the blue roof near Cherry Street.
That's great,
she chirped.
Thank you.
Then I'll see you there, he smiled, and ran off on his bicycle. Looking at the address, she said to herself,
Why walk there, if I can just fly there in a bubble? He did say that he saw me the first time I came to the city. I might as well.
On his way to the bakery, Cameron was riding his bicycle down the street alone. He stopped, and his eye caught the intention of a pink bubble flying above him, which made him smile wider. I knew it! He exclaimed. This is just like the first time! I gotta see this! He mindlessly speeds up, trying to catch up to it, like a moth to a light. One pedestrian almost got run over.
Hey! He shouted. Watch where you're going, crazy cyclist!
But Cameron kept on going. She stopped at a 2-story building with a blue roof on Cherry Street. The bubble changed back into a scepter, and she lands with both feet softly onto the ground. She looked at the sign in white letters on the window. It read, Good Cooking Pan Bakery. Established 1895. Desserts, breads, baked goods. Her ears perk up as she hears the familiar horn of Cameron's bicycle. He arrives in front of the store. You have no idea how surprised I am right now, he said. This is like the first time I saw you.
So this is the bakery you visit often,
she said. That's the one. Good Cooking Pan Bakery. Established to order breads all made fresh, delivering baked goods like bread and pies for the city folk with the bakery's delivery service. Ever been there while you wander around in the city?
Not that I'm aware of. I've been just to a bakery stall once, but it was Pignotti Bakery.
Special permit. Every bakery in Cadona was granted a year in the delivery business. However, no one's heard of Pignotti for a few weeks. Let's get inside and look around. Inside the bakery, the walls were a pale yellow. Pure white tiles covered the floor. The shelves behind the counter on the wall were furnished with freshly baked bread. There was a green cash register on the counter. Standing behind the register was a burly man with dark skin, dressed in a white shirt and matching apron and brown overalls. His name is Floyd Kenworthy, one of the bakers who owned the place. She was gawking at a display case underneath the counter, lined with all kinds of sweets ranging from chocolate eclairs to apple fritters to donuts.
I've never seen so much sweets in a long time,
she said.
I've just ate yesterday.
Cameron walked up to the counter and said to Floyd, Is your wife here? From behind a green door next to the shelves, a large woman with dark skin and black hair barges through. She wears a white apron, a green dress, and red earrings in her ears. She happens to currently own the store. When she saw Cameron, she smiled. Cameron Copley? Self-proclaimed artist of the modern age? She exclaimed. Get your butt over here and give me a hug! He walked over through the counter and embraced her gently. Any juicy pictures you want me to see tomorrow? She asked. They'll be playing back in my apartment studio, he teased. Some of them are still incomplete. She pushed him away, glaring. Those who tease get broken knees. He laughed and said to Princess Kitty, Kitty, may I present my friend, Leola Kenworthy, the baker with the magical hands of the bakery.
Really?
Princess Kitty asked.
Are your hands really magic?
Leola laughed. Why, you believe in anything Michelangelo said, didn't you? You see, I took her there today because she had a fondness for sweets, he said. She doesn't even tolerate regular food like salads or meat or cheeses or any of the food groups. How come? Leola asked.
I'm an inhabitant of KAWAII Wonderland who only eats sweets,
Princess Kitty said.
but the problem is that I don't have any money to pay them. Why, my friend Todd barely told me how to earn money.
Is that so? Leola asked. Like someone from another world? Princess Kitty nodded. Then, Your Highness, you can take whatever you like, Leola smiled. Free of charge.
Free of charge?
Princess Kitty's eyes sparkle and her ears perk up. Floyd, Leola's husband, didn't like to hear that at all, because it didn't take long for Princess Kitty to turn back to the display case. Now, Kitty, Cameron said, let's not get overexcited.
Why would I ever do that?
She chirped.
She said I could have some, does she?
Yeah, but not like this. Hold on, Leola said, her eyes away from Floyd, who clutched his chest in anxiety. I'll be right back. I got business upstairs. Let me know if you decide what you like. As Leola and her husband head upstairs, Cameron explains. I'll be the one who shall pay for it and not free of charge. That won't be fair for anyone else, would it? Princess Kitty's ears droop.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. Look, while we wait for my friend to come back, let's talk more about you. For instance, what kind of cake do you like?
I prefer chocolate cake.
I'm sorry, but it's not the time to purchase one. If you like, we'll get 24 boxes of your favorites. Do you have any? Remembering the time she feasted on chocolate eclairs at her first time at a bakery makes her eyes sparkle, despite a casualty during the eating contest. Speaking of such an event, upstairs, the Kenworthys are arguing about it. Floyd feared that history would repeat itself, for he heard of a girl with pink hair who ate sweets while remaining thin.
Come to think of it, I'll have the chocolate eclairs and the apple fritters,
Princess Kitty said. That's a good choice, Cameron said. I also want some apple fritters as well. We'll share when we head back to the apartment. Leola went through the green door and asked, You decided yet? He pulled out his wallet. We'll have 12 chocolate eclairs for my friend, plus 12 apple fritters. He takes out a 10 sterling bill. Here's a 10 to pay for it. You really make a bargain, don't you? She laughed and accepted the 10. Can't wait for you to make money from your drawings. What's with Floyd? He asked. He's just anxious as usual, as he still remembers that episode with the dead Italian. He's pretty strict about inventory ever since. That bad.
Are you going to the fairground tomorrow?
Princess Kitty asked. You bet I am, Leola said. My employer, who works at the delivery service, doesn't know that I'll be closing tomorrow, but I'm going to spoil him ragged. She gives 2 boxes to Cameron. You have a nice day. As Cameron and Princess Kitty leave the bakery, he said, When we get back to the apartment, we'll drop these boxes off and head to the fairground where the Providence landed yesterday.
Why?
She asked.
The fairground doesn't open till tomorrow morning.
We won't be at the fairground. We'll be on another part of the beach that faced the sea. We'll take the car. The clock tower strikes 2. Princess Kitty and Cameron can barely hear it when they sit down by the beach, watching both the sea and the grounded airship at the fairground. Terrific, isn't it? He said, as he watches the crew underneath the Providence. Isn't this what you were expecting with all the games and the food and the Ferris wheel?
Depends if I'm really wanted in this world,
she said. I know. It sure will be terrific to go around the world in a dirigible like that. I'm looking forward to what's to come after the Providence. I even heard Empire City is making plans for their next dirigible, the Valkyrie. Fitting name. named after those who foretell the future.
Of course, the Pratchett's would feel the same way of flying in one of those,
she said.
As for me, to fly, I can use this.
She gestures her scepter.
That's one of the things I can do.
Of course you do, he laughed. You're from another world, remember? Or did you forget?
It's just that I feel my confidence slipping. However, I'm glad we came to the beach today. I feel better sitting by the sea.
Close to the fairground? She nodded. How nice, he said. I often come here in times like these. It does help me get out of my artist's block. Around them, the beach near the fairground was speckled with people. Husbands in swimsuits lay semi-conscious on beach towels, shaded underneath umbrellas. Wives leaned against wooden folding chairs, reading some Edith Wharton and Ernest Hemingway and Gertrude Stein, interrupting themselves now and then to pour a cup of vermouth from a silver wine cooler. Families are busy with their children, burying each other in the sand up to their necks. Gazing at the sea, she stood up and took off her boots, even taking off her skirt before walking towards the water. She can feel the coarse sand under the paw pads on her feet. By the time they touch the water, she recoils because it's too cold, but she musters up her courage and continues on. She can hear him calling out to her while he reads the newspaper.
Don't get too far towards the sea! I don't want you to end up getting sick with a cold!
Already the water is waist deep, and the waves overwhelm some of her leotard and her tail. Underwater, a small fish swam on by and grabbed one of her furry toes. Feeling something, she dived down and smiled momentarily at the fish, and the other ones who joined it, nibbling playfully at her legs. She rose back up and shouted at him.
I think the sea really likes me!
Glad to hear it!
He shouted.
Can you come to shore? I gotta talk to you about something!
Coming!
She swam to shore, brushing the school fish off of her as they swam away. Say, are you going to the fairground tomorrow? He asked when she approached him. Your friends will be here, won't they? You just wanted to see them again, don't you?
I can probably see the dirigible either from the park or on the rooftops,
she said. If you change your mind, I'll loan you some money. Her ears perk up.
How much?
For grown-ups, 5 sterlings for admission. For children, 3 sterlings, he said. Perhaps you can have fun at the fairground, rather than at the park. Hundreds, even thousands are going to be there. She has her eyes on the sea.
Thousands of grown-ups?
Not just grown-ups. The children will be there.
Maybe I'll give it some thought tomorrow.
If you want, I'll leave 5 sterlings for you before I'm off to the fairground, he said.
How about we just stay here and spend time with each other? Just you and me.
Why not? A day at the beach is what an artist needs. You wait here. As he heads to his Mercedes, she looks ahead. On the water, she can see a runabout speeding across the surface. Curiously, even though that doesn't kill her, her eyes follow it while turning her head. Cameron came back with his trunks and his picnic basket. Hey, Kitty, he said. She turns to face him as he puts down the basket and presents his trunks to her. Here, see? Got my swimwear in the back of the car. Inside this basket is a towel to lay on, a bucket and spade if you want to build a sandcastle, and some sarsaparilla. Stay here and go sit up while I go back for the umbrella.
Wait,
she said. What? He asked. You saw something? She points out towards the runabout.
Over there, I saw a boat.
Staring ahead, he seemed to recognize it, and spurns towards the nearby wharf, with her following him.
Where are you going?
She asked. We have to get to the dock, he said. It's Tombo!
Is he a friend of yours?
He's my uncle. Clearly he has a knack of racing his motorboat on his summer vacation. As soon as they reach the wharf, he can see his uncle Tombo waving towards him while driving his runabout. Tombo Frierson was 52 with blonde, shaggy hair and a strongly built body. Despite his life vest above his flannels and his city lifestyle, his heart really belongs to the sea, especially when he's driving his runabout across the sea in summers. Brunhild is what he calls his boat. Unusual name. He slows down his runabout to a stop towards the edge of the wharf, just as she and Cameron approach him. I'm telling you, there's nothing to hinder my passion of the sea, boy, Tombo said, as he throws a rope towards Cameron. And who's your friend? Tombo asked, pointing towards Princess Kitty. Cameron tied the rope to a piling and said, This girl's name, Uncle, is Princess Kitty. You see, she's from another world. Tying the rope to a cleat, Tombo reaches a hand out for Cameron, which he grabs it and helps his uncle get off the boat and onto the dock. So, you're starting to make very unusual friends, eh? Tombo asked. Clearly, Kitty's the only friend I made this summer, Uncle, Cameron said. Tombo tears off his life vest and throws it into the runabout. Now don't be getting so prickly, he said. It will be nice to make friends this summer, especially the ladies. Of course, you like them for who they are and not for how they look like. Could be a whole lot better than painting and drawing all the time. It's my dream, Cameron said. The only thing I would do in this world. Dreams. Always dreams with you. You didn't even think it'll last. You still have your job. A very good job with an easy pay. It's also good to go see the world around you. If that doesn't work out, where shall you go? What shall you do? If that doesn't work out, I will not give up my dreams. And to the devil with precision and order. Without precision and order, it won't get you anywhere in life. That's what people depend on for 200 years, including myself. With precision and order, you got your whole life ahead of you. Maybe I should start living my own life. The life I want to live. Hope you get used to the idea. Tombo sighed. Then I won't be able to tell you twice. It's never really easy when you do things differently from everyone else. If things don't go well, you'll only have yourself to blame. You understand me? Of course I do, Cameron said. You just had to depend on Donovan. I had to. Everybody has to depend on a man like Donovan to lead them in the proper direction, to stop them from making foolish decisions. It's for your own good to get your head out of the clouds. And that's the problem. That means they never believe in anything anymore. Cameron turned to go, calling out to her. Come. You think about what I said, Tombo calls out as she follows his nephew. I hope you come to your senses, because it's never too late to reconsider. But Cameron never did. He refused to listen to anyone. Instead, he spent time with her at the beach. He had his whole life ahead of him, and he was going to see to it himself that he spent it the way he wanted, as an artist, whatever that took. Meanwhile, at the fairground, unaware to Princess Kitty, Mayor Donovan was present, meeting the dirigible crew and their captain, Pierre Struzik. He's a strongly built man dressed in a white uniform and a brown curled mustache. They both shook hands. I trust that you and your men have enjoyed your lengthy visit to our city, Mayor Donovan said, especially the nice luxury suite you've been given at the Adriano. How does it feel to finally stretch your legs after a long flight across the Atlantic? Well, thank God for that, the captain said. I can see that you're looking forward for tomorrow. The same as you, Captain, Mayor Donovan said, smiling. So regarding dinner, I highly recommend that you should come dine at the pavilion tonight. It's a fine French restaurant you should visit. But expect to be hard-pressed to find decent seats there. Oh, yes. And you're joining us too? With my wife, yes. Let's say at about 8:30 we go visit. You got a date. You know, about this city, I can't help wondering why a city like Cardona is anything but ordinary. Is there something you would like to share with me? Absolutely nothing. Nothing but unusual things that my city shall no longer tolerate. It's been happening for 3 weeks. Never surprise me if your city happens to be inhabited by talks of ghosts and demons. I will make sure it never affects the bicentennial. No, not in my city. Are you sure you can promise something like that? It's like you're paranoid or something. I will not have the bicentennial be plagued with such common lunacy, Captain. People will be terrified out of their wits if that happened. I want everything to go as planned, without one incident. I will not let the entire city submit to further degradation. Do you understand? The captain nods, understanding. I'll leave you to your crew then, Mayor Donovan said. See you at 8 for dinner. Remember, there better not be something wrong. There better not be an incident. He heads off in his touring car. One of the crew members of the Providence called to the captain. Paranoid, you say? Now that's a good one. How a man like him gets to be the mayor of this European city is a mystery to me. Pretty sure it stays a mystery, Mr. Bagley. The captain sighed in annoyance. After all, he wants everything to be perfect, without one mistake standing out. I tell you, you wouldn't get far in life without occasionally seeing something fabled. However, they were unaware that Gunter Hawkins happened to overhear the conversation underneath the platform with Mabel Pearson. Donovan does expect things to go well without the girl Fireball, he said, appalled. Well, we'll see about that once we let the Queen. Lucky for you, Gunter. I know where she now lives, Mabel said. Do you? Yes. Reynard Manor, in the woods outside the city. The Kitsenade's place. Gunter, something tells me that we'll be needed again, for the girl's sake. The Queen makes it clear that the girl is the one. That night on the table, Princess Kitty and her new friend just finished their dinner. She feasts on chocolate eclairs while he feasts on salad. The lights give out a dim glow that brightens the room. I've decided to become an artist after I graduate from high school, Cameron said. I like to draw so much, I almost hated to go to bed. I fell asleep right at my easel instead. Of course, I have to make sure the canvas is either blank or drawn on pencil instead of paint.
What else could you do? She asked. What job has your uncle mentioned?
I'm actually a newsreel cameraman. I've been all over the world, filming for the newsreels at the Flickers for 25 pence a screening. Sometimes when I'm not wanted, I paint. Sometimes I take long walks, look at scenery until I get sick, which is nuts, and bum around my apartment. She looked at a leather case with the words, Property of Kodono Times, placed on top of the dresser.
You managed to live your life well?
She asked. It's terribly difficult, but yes, he said. However, all that changed when I first met you. He brings out a projector and inserts the reel. He turned off the lights and turned the projector on. On one wall, it shows images of cats on their hind legs parading on Main Street. Filmed on the day of the parade, he said. After nearly a week, I thought I'd show this footage to the press, but they didn't approve. They say it was against reality and extremely unrealistic. Oh yes, after an incident last Thursday night, articles discussing such things are taboo. Not just the Kodono Times, but from every paper in the city.
Did they?
She demanded. One of the reporters gave me this before going home from work just yesterday, Cameron said, walking over to the desk where he picks up a message. Giving it to her, she gazed at the words. Notice. It is hereby resolved that it is the decision of the mayor of the city, Fritz Roger Donovan, that articles discussing unexplained phenomena or unreal things be blacklisted from the Kodono Times now and in the future. Stuart Ewing, Editor-in-Chief. People are concerned by what they don't understand, by what they don't believe in, Cameron said. I just do what they tell me. She crumpled it and spat.
Then I know the reason why people stopped writing articles about unusual things in the city.
Oh, to the devil with the mayor, Kitty, he said. Don't let 'em get to you. Never give up on what you believed in. I always did.
Really?
You see, when I go around the world to film for the newsreels, I can still see that bubble with you up in the sky, making me question, to the point of obsession, if there are such wonders in this world, and I can have a piece of it. And today, that piece might be you.
You really think so? After what I've done in that parade?
You did this?
But that was nothing compared to the other things I do for the people in Kodono. But what do they do because of Donovan? Brush it off like it has no meaning. After all, there's 300,000 people who already had the audacity to grow up. 300,000 heads out of the clouds. And 600,000 feet planted on the ground. On reality.
She suddenly hissed and pointed at him.
And someday, you'll be like the rest of them. Just like your uncle has said.
I'm not like the rest, he said. Just be glad you come visit me. If you were alone in the park all day, you would have been one giant ball of frustration with nothing else to do. And don't worry about Tombo either. He's really a good person when you get to know him more. That is, if he does welcome you.
Do you really think my presence will be known to them?
She demanded.
Do you really think it's bound to be important to everyone? And is it worth all the trouble? I just wanted to be welcomed. Is it just so hard to ask here?
He frowned and turned off the projector. If you have any friends who accept you for who you are, even they wouldn't want you to stay hidden for the rest of your life, he said. The one thing that I'm really afraid of is living in a city without the likes of you. I don't care what people may call you. Whatever they might say about you shall remain irrelevant. They would pass judgment on someone like you. They just say whatever is appropriate without ever knowing the truth about anything. Why should I care about them? Especially my Uncle Tombo. Slowly, she willed her muscles to relax. Why don't we just go to sleep? He asked. Think it over.
Why not?
She asked. I have to get up at 8 tomorrow and go to work. I'm expected to arrive early at the fairground with my Filmo. While I'm gone, you can help yourself with these sweets.
Oh, how about you have some tomorrow?
I'll be taking some with me. The rest you can have. Besides, why would I eat so much of these? They're full of sugar. Eventually, I would even get diabetes or indigestion. Seeing that you eat sweets like it's caviar, you, Kitty, don't have any problems with that, do you?
Not at all.
That's what I thought. And one more thing, and that's about the celebration tomorrow. Whatever people might think of you, because of what you are, you do what you think is right. You do have a voice that must be heard, Kitty. It would be terrible to let anybody make you voiceless, make you imaginary, like something out of a silly fairy tale. She climbs onto the bed.
Sorry about taking your bed from you.
Oh, that's fine, he shrugged, snuggling himself into his canvas sleeping bag. I'm better off sleeping on the floor anyway, so why bother having a bed?
Hey, Cameron,
She said.
is it all right if I come and visit your place more often?
I'm here during the summer and probably paint more pictures of you when I get inspired again, he said. Maybe tomorrow I'll meet your friends at the fairground. I'll also go and visit you at where the children live too. Just be glad that I finally met you. Nodding, she rested a weary head on a pillow. Yawning, she closed her eyes and drifted off to sleep.